It's Local Edition. I'm Brad Pomerance. Thanks for joining us again. Our guest, Ted Lieu, member of the California State Senate. Ted, I know that in California we regulate home loans, we regulate payday loans, even car loans, but there's a certain type of car loan that's not regulated, and it's causing a lot of concern. The LA Times did a long series about it. They're called Buy Here, Pay Here.
That's correct. This is a used car industry that really preys on vulnerable populations. These are folks who don't have great credit and they absolutely need a car to get to work.
Now, as I understand it, what they are doing is they are inflating the price of the used car, sometimes 2 times the amount of the Kelley Blue Book, and they're charging interest rates that are quite high.
That's absolutely right. Interest rates that are 3, 4, 5 times higher than a going market interest rate. And what they do is they say, here, we're going to give you this car for $15,000, even though it might only be worth $8,000 according to Kelley Blue Book. And on top of that, we'll charge you an interest rate of 22%. Then what happens is you get the car and you have to make these monthly payments by going to their dealership to make the payment. That's why it's called Buy Here, Pay Here.
You have to deliver it. Oh, that's interesting.
That's correct.
No mail.
And if you miss one payment, they can repossess your car.
And as I understand it as well, some of these dealerships will insert hidden GPSs, or they'll have remote control lock ignitions. And so it's easy to repossess.
They will do. That's absolutely right. They will do all sorts of things to you. And the reason that it's a problem is because when you think about other loan industries, they actually want the consumer to keep paying off the loan. In this case, there's a perverse incentive for them to actually make you default, because then they get the car back, they get to sell it again to another customer, get another down payment. And some of these cars have been sold and resold 5 to 8 times.
And the default rate is topping 25%.
The highest of any industry.
Okay.
It's enormously high.
So right now, California does not regulate this industry.
That's correct.
Why?
Because what they do, it's this loophole here where they're not technically loaning you money. It's an installment contract. Okay. So when you think about, when you go buy, let's say, a new car, it gets financed through Bank of America or some other lender. Well, that car dealership will actually get that money from Bank of America. Let's say you buy a $30,000 car.
I understand, right.
The car dealership gets $30,000. Well, in this case, they don't go through any third-party lender. They themselves just give you the car. You buy it. No lending happens. And then you have to pay them back every month the amount of money through this installment contract.
So can California regulate?
Absolutely.
This industry, yes.
I'm introducing legislation to put them under regulation.
So talk to me about the regulations.
So we're going to, first of all, put them under regulation to begin with. Right now, they're completely unregulated. No one knows what they're doing. And then there's a whole host of lending regulations that people have to follow if they actually want to lend money, such as they can't charge usury interest rates. We're going to look at making them give back the down payment if they actually repossess your car, to take away the incentive for them to make you default.
Now, there clearly is an industry for this, just like there's an industry for payday lending. It may seem ugly, but people are using these industries. So how do you balance the need for this, especially in times of tough credit, with the need to protect consumers?
Well, so the regulation is not going to say you can't exist. There is a need for this because people with bad credit sometimes do need vehicles. But it needs to be regulated. They can't take advantage of the vulnerable populations the way they have. Another thing they do is they'll advertise these really low amounts for their cars. You show up and then they go,
it's a teaser rate.
What?
Or not even that?
They go, that's the full cash price. If you want to finance it through them, it's a different amount. You can't actually do that anymore.
As you know, your friends on the Republican side of the aisle are all about eliminating regulations. Do you think you'll get their support on this bill?
I do, because even some of the more conservative folks don't want no regulations. They actually would like to have some. For instance, when you're doing loans to vulnerable populations, you want some regulations to protect them.
Ted Lieu, thanks for joining us. He's Ted Lieu, member of the California State Senate. I'm Brad Pomerance. We're going to send you back to HLN.